Yo, guys, it's the kid, 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 it's the kid. Coming in live from you from the Half Up Thoughts YouTube channel. And also, I think I'm live on Twitter as well. I think your boy is also live on Twitter as well, man. What up, people? It's your main man here, Half Up, Double H, trying to live, trying to exist, the sexiest host in the world, the biggest host in the world, the guy trying to stay alive, man. So for this is about the last dance. It's finished, it's done, the 10-part series, and this is definitely going to be a dissection of the documentary, and also as well, there's also going to be a dissection. So it's going to be a dissection of the actual thing. Going to be a dissection of the Jordan, the Bulls, the team, and all that lovely stuff, man. All that lovely stuff, man. So obviously, as I said again, we're coming from the tube as well as Twitter as well, man. So Twitter questions and everything. Say what's up to people. Yo, Mr. Ryan the best, man. I think this boy is watching in from Twitter, man. So we're gonna get to the whole LeBron thing, man. We're gonna get to the whole LeBron thing. Don't worry. That was maybe after. So I want this to start off with my views on the Last Dance. You see, okay, I've watched a few sports documentaries and so forth. It's even something me and your boy Danny T were even talking about. So I've seen a few sport docs here and there. But for me, what makes this specifically money is the way in which this was made. So shout out to, I think his name is Jason Hay or something. I've thought that the filmmaking quality, the editing quality, the artistry of this, and how he decided to make this was really good. So see, what was always confusing is that you say, so is this a Jordan documentary or is it a Bulls documentary? Because it felt like this should be about the Chicago Bulls because it's about the Chicago Bulls and their final season. But I think even Pippen, Rodman, Kerr, Horace Grant will all accept that Jordan isn't like any other dude. And then, so there's no point in even feeling envious that so much of the focus was on Jordan, and this was pretty much engineered and centered on Jordan. But what I did like, though, is, hearing about Steve Kerr's father and that stuff, this kind of stuff that Rodman did, one of the craziest things, because I used to watch WCW. And I think I remember that segment with Rodman and Hollywood Hogan. I remember seeing that because I was like, oh my gosh, how the heck is Dennis Rodman in WCW? Lo and behold, that he was doing that during a flipping playoff game. During the flipping playoffs, he was actually at WCW, which I just find insane. But I think what The Last Dance showed, a couple of things. First thing, it showed that Jordan might be one of the biggest sports stars of all time. Because Jordan is very different from Ali. For Muhammad Ali, it was really much about the man. Was Muhammad Ali really the best boxer? He was definitely amazing, but was he truly the greatest boxer? No, not really. He wasn't really the greatest boxer. What made Muhammad Ali amazing was he was a damn good boxer. Had one of the most famous wins ever. But it's what he did outside of the ring, and also what he was as a man. Because Muhammad Ali was the first, and he was the first sports person to go beyond sports. Say, no, I am more than just sports. I'm a man as well. But I think for Jordan is the reason why the NBA is the second biggest sport in the world. He's the reason, because I think it was, the late David Stern said that Jordan is responsible for the NBA going from 19 countries to now 200 and something countries around the world. And he is the reason why most people's second favorite sport is basketball. And that is because of how Jordan made it cool, how he really introduced the world to it and said, no, there is something exciting about doing it. So he has to be one of the most influential sports stars, because, put it this way, this best way, I don't think any athlete has brought more people to a sport than Jordan did with basketball. Did you box because of Muhammad Ali specifically? Or how many people did? How many people started to play football because Pele played football? You know, how many people play tennis because of Sampras or Federer? A lot of, me included. The reason why I loved, even if Penny Hardaway was the player that I liked the best, because that's why I'm with the Magic. When I saw, because I was right at the time during Jordan was doing this stuff. So when I saw Jordan, I was like, oh my gosh, wow, this is amazing. Let me pick up a ball and start, shooting and all that kind of stuff. So it's huge. But also as well, you have to, the Bulls were just a special team. And it's so funny because even when you'd see them come out and you just see that logo, there was just something about the Chicago Bulls. And it is Jordan, but also it's just that team as well. And the kind of the kind of, I think the fear factor that team gave. I don't think peak Lakers, peak Warriors, or any of these guys had the kind of fear factor that these dudes had. So I should say, so basketball is my second favorite. Yeah, no. Look, man. I mean, you see, Iverson is personally one of my favorites as well. He's definitely one of my favorites for sure. He's one of my favorites for sure. And I think Iverson might be one of my favorite players. Like I say, it's Penny Hardaway and maybe Iverson. Tyson may have brought people into boxing, but not as much as Jordan. Like Pele, Jordan is singularly responsible for the NBA becoming as big as it is right now, which is why I said it makes no sense that he isn't the logo. Like people say, oh no, you shouldn't change. No. Why the heck is the logo that? I don't even know. I've even forgotten the name of the guy that's on the logo. Jordan should be the logo based on what he's done for the NBA. Like basically, there will be no player that will be as influential in the NBA than Jordan. No one ever will. Nobody ever will. So the only right thing to do, and I think this should, especially after this documentary, this should be even put forth as to how it is even more important that he gets put as a logo for the game because he's historic. And the amount of money that the NBA have, the reach that the NBA has, owes a lot to what Homeboy did. It owes a lot to what he did. So the way to thank that is boom, give it to him, man. Oh yeah, Jerry West. So say in cricket, it's done. And okay, but my thing though is that none of those guys are as influential or have popularized their sports as much as Jordan. That's just facts. Federer and Nadal are not even close to the popularity of Jordan. Are not even close in popularizing their sports as much as Jordan has. Same thing with Don Bradman. It's not even close. It's not even close. That is why Jordan is in a very special category. But I think the key thing, and this is the conversation I want to have about this whole Last Dance thing, because there were some because this was great because again, look, I remember that 90s run. So I remember the second run. I don't remember the first run. I don't remember everything with the second run. So that game 4 against the Pacers was crazy and everything. But we have to have a serious conversation here. And this is where LeBron will come and sneak in. So we're looking at all of the teams that LeBron faced. So you look at the Pistons. So the top teams, so Pistons, Supersonics, Utah Jazz, those Pacers, and so forth. I think it was Lakers at a point, I think. And we have to have an honest conversation. Because it was so good because I look specifically at their rivalry with the Pistons. So when Jordan's team beat the Pistons, they were they were on their way down. It wasn't peak Pistons. Peak Pistons, we saw what happened. They were too strong. At the peak, somebody, those Pistons, they swept the Lakers in the finals. Those guys swept the Lakers in the finals, man. Um, so they say and NBA won't change the logo. Why? Money. If Jordan becomes the logo, they would have to pay him and Nike because they already have. You see, so now I get that. See, that makes it. See, I think the issue is because that whole thing of him, the Jumpman logo is a trademark. And it's a trademark that Nike benefits hugely off of. I think Nike's main income is off of the Jordan line. So that is what makes it. So see, from that point of view, I get it. See, now that now makes sense. Yeah, I know. I think yeah, as well. The edge of see that makes sense. Now, see, it makes sense. It makes sense because what are you going to do? You think Nike will allow NBA to use the logo without them ripping any of the benefits? Hell no. It's like if anybody tries to rip off that jump on thing, they'll flip in copyright and sue because that is a gold mine for Nike. Talk about Nike another time. That's a gold mine for Nike. But my thing about it is this: I'm looking at all of these teams now that the Bulls faced, and what was good about this series was how important Paxman was, how important Steve Kerr was, how important Pippen was, and how important Kukoc was. But specifically, Pippen, Rodman, how important that he was, and his rebounds. I think they say Rodman one of the best defensive dudes ever. But look all of these things, and we're gonna have a conversation. This show's gonna be about an hour or so, but I want us to have an open dialogue and an open conversation about this. Because I think what has been the running commentary right now for this whole Last Dance thing has been Jordan, LeBron. And many people have said this has ended that debate of Jordan being the GOAT and no one is even close. I said, no, that has made the debate even much more interesting. Because we've seen the teams that he faced and we've learned about them. Lakers were on the way down. Celtics on the way down. Pistons, they were on the way down. And I want us to be honest here. I just want us to be fully honest. Are you telling me that the Utah Jazz or the Seattle Supersonics are as good as that Golden State Warriors team that have the best regular season record? I just want an honest answer there. Is that what we're saying right now? Because that's the key thing. It's like because that is something that we're going to have to discuss also, which is that, and this is my view, no team, and this doesn't mean that LeBron is great support. This is why this is a debate. But no team that those Bulls faced, or no team that Jordan faced, were as good or as talented or as dangerous as that State Warriors team that LeBron and Cleveland beat to win their championship. No one was. So people can say, okay, yeah, LeBron lost 6, 7, 8 championships, which is true. That's a blame, and that is what hurts his GOAT record because again, Jordan never sniffed a Game 7 in the finals. Which is crazy. He always beats his teams in 6 games or less in the finals. He never saw a Game 7, which is insane. And I want to go out to that Utah Jazz game. But I just want someone to say that. And this is a question for you guys out there. Did Jordan face a team that was as good? Did he ever face a team that was as good as that Golden State Warriors team? This is probably one of the most interesting parts of the whole doc, which is that things of whether he was a bully or not. It was definitely a thin line between being a bully and being a great leader. Because I'm sure you guys have heard of the phrase tough love. And to get the best out of people, you have to have some tough love. And Jordan is not a nasty guy. Jordan is not a nasty guy. But for Jordan, like he was like, no, for us to be at the very best, we can't all be smiley, smiley, laughy, laughy, laughy. And I'm going to trigger a few things. That's why they say, like, but then you see what Jordan has to realize is that different people respond differently to different things. Some people need an arm around their shoulder. And then if you do that arm around their shoulder, they'll do amazing. But for other people, you need to insult them, push them, and really be aggressive with them, and then you'll get something. So the thing with Jordan is, and I think this is the point that sort of Shannon Sharp was sort of making, that if an alpha meets an alpha, it's going to be conflict. If an alpha meets a beta, then it depends on how the beta responds to what he says. So it's all dependent. It's really all dependent. I'm one of those guys that you need to sort of be a bit aggressive with me. Like if you're too nice with me, then it won't really, because I'm one of those guys that needs to be like, come on, baby. And so you're lighting a fire on under me. So I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. But he wasn't. Bottom line is that he wasn't a bully. He was just very competitive. Because what is the end goal for? See, that's the key thing. What's the end goal for a bully? The end goal for a bully is just to embarrass you, just for the fun of it. But as we saw in that dog, the end goal for Jordan was, I want my team to win, and I want all of us to win. I want all of us to win. So since if that's his end goal, you might say that he might have used bullying tactics, but that doesn't mean that he was a bully. He was doing it to try and get a reaction, man. Now let's just be clear here. Let's be fully clear here. The best in LeBron faced, that Durant team is the most unbeatable team of all time. No team in history is beating that Durant team. That's just a fact. The Durant Golden State Warriors team is literally the most unbeatable team of all time. And you can love the Bulls all you want and say everything is Bulls. The Bulls, in today's tactics, in today's rules, the Bulls are not beating those Golden State Warriors. It's impossible. It's just not happening. Because yes, Bulls may have Jordan, but the Warriors have 3 superstars. Jordan was a sole super. See, that Warriors team with Durant, you're talking about 3 superstars. Superstars. Pippen is not better than Durant. Pippen can shoot as well as Clay. Pippen can shoot as well as Steph. And then what else? You're trying to say, Steve Kerr or Kukoc are as good as Clay, Steph, or no. So with Durant, you're looking at an unbeatable team. Without Durant, you're looking at an amazing team. And a team that was so amazing, they broke the regular season record. So hence why it would be a great... These Bulls against those Warriors, when are we playing? If the Bulls play those Warriors without Durant in 90s, 80s rules, Bulls win. Bulls win. If the Bulls play these Warriors in today's rules, I don't know. I don't know. and that's what nobody wants to say. That's what nobody wants to give. I don't know. So don't, guys, come on. Guys, it's like, don't do this, guys. If Durant was healthy, Warriors lubricate the Raptors. Simple. Everyone knows this. If Durant was healthy, Thingy beat them. But so let's keep it real. Clay was injured. So really, it was only Steph. Because remember, Clay played a bit and then he got injured. So Clay was not fully healthy. Durant ended up getting injured, but the kid that Clay was not fully healthy. So a fully healthy Clay and Steph, I don't know whether Raptors beat them. I was happy that the Raptors win because I hate the Warriors, but I don't know whether they beat them, man. You see now I think there's another thing I even want to talk about here is that Phil Jackson was huge in this. And I think it was great that there was a light shone on the coaching methods of Phil Jackson. I mean, Again, one of the key things that shows his coaching, because some guys will say, "Oh, it's only 5 guys, so therefore, if you just have 2 superstars, how much does the coach do?" But then you look at what he did. First of all, utilizing the triangle, trusting the triangle. That's the first thing. The second thing is the Pippen incident, where Pippen did a Carlos Tevez. Pippen did a Carlos Tevez where he refused to play, and he dropped a play for Kukoc. Who guys like, who's this European dude, Croatian dude? Man, screw this guy. Drop a play for him. Rest is history. Drop a play for him. Rest is flipping history. So Phil Jackson definitely had a strong role. He definitely had a strong role to play. But I still think that Jordan really helped to accentuate that. He helped to accentuate that. But you cannot really deny, because again, I think, you see, when coaching really comes to the fray, are those last 3 minutes or the last minutes in the fourth quarter. One of the most exciting things to see in sports is the final minutes of a really close NBA game, especially in a final. It's one of the most fascinating things to see, where there's one like that last minute can last like 10, 15 minutes because of timeouts, different plays, different tactical things, different stops. So it's amazing. And I think Phil dropped some very key plays of knowing that, all right, this is how we're now going to create space for our top player to get his shot off. But guys, like, let's just we have to really keep let's just keep it real with what he did in that Jazz game and what Jordan did in that Jazz game. Because first of all, if anybody knows basketball, a steal is quite hard to execute. Okay, a steal isn't just like tackling a guy and goes for a tackling. No. A steal where you're cleanly taking the guy you're clearly taking the ball from the guy without hitting his hand or any kind of physical contact is hard. And I loved how Jordan described how he did that. And the thought of doing that, of how he said he always knew that Rodman was tight towards him. And because he knew that Rodman was tight, he knew that, all right, he's going to be open. Let me just go in there and just quickly, because again, the only way you steal is the guy must not notice you. That's how you steal. It's about really being clever and finding the right moments of, all right, his attention is diverted, boom, go through. So for him to get that steal, go up, and beautifully executed the key 2 points of that's got it. And now it's like his last shot. See, for me, that's greatness. That's greatness, man. That's right there is full on greatness. For me, that's just so superb, absolutely superb, man. And finally, so Jackson was just, yeah. I mean, because I think even Rodman was even saying that, like, look, man, once he handed the ball, everyone knew what was happening, man. Everyone knew what was happening when he had the ball, but just like it's easy looking at it in hindsight, but in that moment when you just know that, remember, you're in Utah and so forth, and the pressure is on, it's huge. But see, guys, I can't help beating this feeling. And this is why this document really helps eliminate things. The Utah Jazz have only been to the NBA Finals twice in the entire franchise history, and those were the only 2 times that they were there and they met the Bulls. So, and I get it. In that year in '98, Utah Jazz, I believe, were the best team. So that's why they had home court advantage. So, and I think the Bulls beat every single team that season apart from the Jazz. So they were a strong team. It's just that, and I think even Reggie Miller even alluded to this in Game 7 of their series, which is that having that championship DNA and that championship experience is huge. It's huge. A regular season game is nothing like a playoff game or a Game 7 NBA Finals game, or even like a Game 6 NBA Finals game. And I think because these guys had been here 5 times before, they're like, we know what it means to be like, okay, you've got to score now. You've got to score now. You've got to make it happen now. You've got to make it happen now. So um, so no matter how small from players, journalists, etc. Jordan, when to them like no one else, he met no say no. Look, I think no. Basically, which is why he worked so well for Space Jam, because for me, see, I haven't seen Jordan this way as much, because I mean I'm not hunting interviews for everything, but I think the way that we saw him both in the interviews and also behind the scenes, I was like, oh wow, like he really, because I thought he had a personality. I didn't think he had as much of a personality as I saw. As in, he's basically the guy. Whenever a guy said, okay, this guy's a massive trash talk and everything, like now it makes sense. He had a huge personality, a massive personality, which is why you can draw parallels between himself and Muhammad Ali. Because I do believe that for Ali and Jordan, what helped them to excel in these arenas was motivating themselves. So Ali saying that I'm going to knock this guy out in 5 rounds. This guy is ugly. This guy is a piece of crap. That actually helps to motivate him to do well. So when remember, like Jordan, like what was basic, he would make up stories to motivate himself. He was like, this guy said this. Oh, really? All right. But those are the things that he needed to really motivate himself to really go that extra yard, and those things are helpful. Which is why, like, you see, why Jordan will always be greater than LeBron. Because it's funny. There's a clip I saw. There's a clip that I found. And maybe I don't know where it is. I need to try and find it. But there's a clip I found where LeBron is talking to like his friends and everything, and he's talking about the Cleveland game and how they came back from 3-1, and how he said that, what, that right there made me the GOAT of him coming back from 3-1. And I said again, that's an amazing feat. That is an amazing feat. And LeBron had he strongly contributed to that. Kyrie hit the shot. Just as Jordan hit that key shot against Jazz, Kyrie hit that. That 3-pointer was a dagger upon all daggers. Like for me, that is one of the biggest shots in NBA history, based on just the magnitude of it and what had transpired. Well, I think nobody has scored for like 3 minutes. So, it ain't the same as what your boy did, man. But you see, that's one says like but see now, these are hypotheticals right now, and this is a great what if, because again, what was so crazy is I thought that this was it, all done, finished. They're gonna go like, and he always intended this to be his final season. But what was interesting was how I said that, oh no, if Jerry Krause hadn't been like, even if you win 82 games, you're still out of here. If they'd kept things open, they'd have signed a 1-year contract. Did they win 7? Probably. So wait, so who was in the 97? Wait, who was the Western Conference 97 finalists? Oh, sorry, 99. It would have been the Spurs. It would have been the Spurs. You see, now that would have been interesting. Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, all those Tony Parker there. So if they had stayed for number 7, they would have faced San Antonio. Because remember, that was now about the San Antonio dynasty. And see, for me, that would have been interesting. That would have been interesting. Because guys, let's keep it real. Let's keep it real. Supersonics, Jazz, the Suns, all these teams in the West of the Bulls beats. Which of these teams had a dynasty? How many championships did they win afterwards or in the future? So, for example, if let's say Jordan stayed for that final season and he beat San Antonio, And then, but San Antonio still went on to win, what's it, I think 4 or 5 more, or how many did they win? They went to go and win those are the ones. Then you can then say that, man, he really beat a team. Because this team, despite losing to the Bulls in '99, still went on to win all of those other championships. And they should have beaten Miami Heat if not for Ray Allen. So, because again, guys, are we putting the true? You can only beat what's in front of you, but are we truly saying the Supersonics, the Jazz, the Suns are amongst the greatest teams of all time? I mean, I'm just asking the question. I'm just asking the question, man. I'm just asking the question, man. Well, shout out to Sammy, man, for the super chat, man. Thank you very much for the super chat. Thank you, obliged, man. Is leaving at your peak a good idea? See, this is an interesting thing that Jordan said. Because he felt that he was at his peak. No, never leave. You see, this is the dilemma here. Is you never want to overstay your welcome, because it's like the whole Gianluigi Buffon thing. Buffon should have retired a long time ago, and he's now making himself look bad. Casillas should have retired some time ago, but he kept on going. Because when you're at your peak, you're like, what more can I do? You see, you should retire when and only you know. Only you know. Ali should have never fought Larry Holmes. He knows it, but he just was so addicted to boxing. But Jordan said that in '98 I was at my peak. I was at my peak. So when he came back to the Wizards, he was retired. Years had gone by, so boom. But just like if he was given another year, that's why I so wish he stayed for 1 year more. Yeah, just to say, I just wish that he would have stayed for 1 year more. I wish he had stayed for 1 year longer to have seen what he could have done against the San Antonio Spurs. Jordan at his peak, that team keeping that core against San Antonio. I think they probably win, but it would have been an interesting game. But yeah, you should never leave at your peak, because see this is the whole thing. People say, oh, leave when the going is good. Don't just say, oh, you're welcome, but you will. And that's what Jordan said. He said that I still have that regret that I felt so good. I felt at the best of my powers. I still felt at the very top. So I felt that we could go again, because I still felt invincible. And as long as I was around and I did what I did, there would always be that fear factor. I remember San Antonio, who I believe, I believe that was their first ever finals. San Antonio. So if San Antonio met the Bulls, San Antonio would be like, damn, we're going up against the Bulls. Do you think the LeBron documentary will stick to the views as much as MJ's? No. For me, a LeBron doc wouldn't work. Some people would watch it, but see, for me personally, I wouldn't find it interesting personally. Because I'm like because the reason why the MJ doc works is because it's MJ. You see, another doc that would be good is Iverson. See, even if Iverson didn't win, he was such a revolutionary character, such a revolutionary player, such an interesting dude that people would gravitate towards what he was doing. But for LeBron, it's like, okay, say if you're doing a LeBron doc, so you lost to the Mavericks, you lost to the Spurs, you got swept by the Spurs several times. So we have to look at those losses. So documentaries that work are either documentaries about a really tragic figure where a lot of crazy things happen, and it's like what could have been, or a Michael Jordan, a guy that was just great. Thing with LeBron is, it's what would be the angle of the LeBron thing? You can't have an angle of greatness when there are so many losses on his resume, and he's not as revolutionary or as interesting a figure as an Allen Iverson or a Dennis Rodman. Guys, Rodman was just out there. He was out there. And even looking at Rodman and everything, I'm like, you know what? I respect that. We need alternative, different people in society. We need them. Having just regular dudes, we need alternative dudes. that sort of think differently and do things differently, man. Um, see, that's the crazy thing is that as much as MJ regrets not doing it again, because there's always a thing that I could have done more. And this is why sometimes it's good to go out early. Now, what if, let's give him one more year, and they go in 99 and the Spurs beat them? So the last image we see of Jordan in the Bulls, because again, no one cares about Jordan in the Wizards. Like people are like, he'll just do that just for a laugh. Jordan was in the Bulls. So what if the last image we see of Jordan in the Bulls is him losing? Because look, Kobe's amazing, and we appreciate what Kobe did. But the last time we saw Kobe in the Lakers thingy, I think he had a points, but he didn't leave as a winner. Last time we saw Magic Johnson, he didn't leave as a winner. Last time that we saw Larry Bird, he didn't leave as a winner. You can go down the line of all the guys. That's all these guys in their final game, they didn't leave as a winner. In Jordan's final game for the Bulls, you left as a winner in a game that truly solidified your amazing individual talent. And that is huge. That is huge. So Spurs were average that season. Bulls beating them all day. No. Let's see. Like for me, I still think that they would. But the fact of the matter is that they won afterwards. And the other teams that other people did, they didn't, man. They didn't, but I would have liked to have seen how that would have unfolded, But look, but all in all, man, this was a great documentary. This was a great documentary, and it's funny. Almost as soon as it's finished, I went to go and find out game 4, because the Pacers could have beaten them. So it's so crazy that the Pacers gave them more problems than I think any team that they faced throughout. And I think even Jordan started like the one team that was the toughest team they faced were those Pacers. And those Pacers, they were so close. Because remember, this just shows you the beauty of sport and the fine details. As Miller said, if they had won that jump ball and they had gone up 5, based on momentum and so forth, he felt that we probably win. That if they just won that jump ball, had scored, and they go up 5, he just felt the way that the game was going, they go through. And as I said, as soon as the Bulls won the jump ball and they then scored, it just went downhill. So those are just the extreme fine lines of stuff that was happening, man. Yo, what's up? What up, Mohammed, man? What up, man? I'm here in this whole Periscope shabing, man. Why did? Oh, you see, I don't know whether you saw it, but he played baseball because of his father. That was both of the stories, how Jordan's father died and how Steve Kerr's father died. I was like, oh my God. Oh, it just makes you feel ill. It makes you just feel ill just hearing about that stuff. But yeah, because his father was a huge baseball fan, and he wanted him to play baseball when he was young. So when he retired, he was like, you know what? I've always liked baseball, and this was something that me and my dad shared. So yeah, let me go and play baseball. So, and I think he said that his father would have been so happy him playing baseball. So it was like a personal, therapeutic thing for him. But he then said to himself that okay, if Jordan never went to play baseball, does he win 8 in a row? Which is insane. Which is absolutely insane. Does he win 8 in a row? But the thing though is that I think that's it's not. Maybe no, because you have to remember. I think he needed that 2-year break because there was so much pressure on him. It was physically and mentally tasking, and I just think that was why he sort of needed just to go away from everything and come back recharged. Um, but yeah, but I think that's the thing is like, look, is when you see my thing with basketball is they just need to work out some of the rule changes because the thing about basketball that frustrates me, which is why I gravitate to football so much, is referees, and I don't know how you guys feel about this, that referees have too much say in the things of the game. How is it that a referee can call fouls on someone based on you're either a star player or not a star player? So it is to their discretion what kind of fouls that they call, way more than referees in football. In football, sometimes referees can call stuff for their discretion, but there's still a standardized rule book which you have to follow more or less. But for referees in NBA, they could just there's something like, wait, why did you call that? I just felt like it, you know. But it's like but still the kind of drama that you get from like those final few minutes in basketball are amazing. And just those situations that you saw Jordan in was crazy. Was absolutely crazy. So you don't know, so yeah, like as a documentary man, I have to say like it was because what I liked about it was how they jumped back from the past and in the future and how well they told the story. So they would look at this dude and be like, okay, all right, this is what this dude is doing, this is what he is. So before we really go into his story, let's just go back a few years and give us some background into who he is, where he was from, and everything. So, and that is always a very kind of risky experimental thing that guys happen, man. This documentary proves that MJ's no, for me, it's I still feel there's a discussion, but this just helped to add to I think what we already knew. But I think no, I think what was key here was his psychology, which we didn't know. See, we just see it from boom, but now it's like this is why I did this. This is what I was thinking when all this happened. And it is amazing looking into the mind of a great sports person. That is flipping amazing of how a great sports person thinks in terms of what motivates them, how they focus, their drive for excellence, and how and this is what I always say about this whole messing and Cristiano is when money time comes, they're like, look, please, the hand is way up, like money time, high pressure, I'm here. Because scoring if you're top player, scoring a basket in the second quarter or third quarter, yeah, it's all right. But having to score a basket in the fourth quarter when the pressure's on is huge, which is why that Steve Kerr story was so big. Because I remember watching it and I said, well, like, man, this is Steve Kerr. This guy may make some big shots. So it's so amazing when you saw what was happening on the bench. And this is always the key thing. This is why you need a team. Because Jordan was like, they're all going to come to me. And they're all going to think I'll take the shot. So because they think I'm going to take the shot, they're going to commit 2-3 guys to me. So when that happens, I need you to be ready. And Steve Kerr was like, bro, kick it to me. I'm ready. I'll be ready. You know, and Steve Kerr was like, oh, I'm a role player and everything. But as a Paxman, I know my role. If you give it to me, I will be there. And Boeing was there. And it's massive pressure. Because look, you're just a small guy, role player guy. You're not the superstar that Jordan is. So it is huge amounts of pressure. This also makes things great. So why can players go in and out during the game? No, because of it's rolling subs, which sometimes you can do in 5-a-side, but it's rolling subs. So because remember, it's very tasking on guys in basketball. It's back and forth. So when it's back and forth, you have to have rolling subs because it's 5-on-5, small courts, hardly any downtime. So the only way that guys can actually survive playing for the 8 minutes is boom, come in, come out. You know, but what's it called? I think there was one game that MJ played where, like, I think he had to play for like 36, 37 minutes. And it was big again as well, Pippen, where he literally broke his back. He's messed up his back. And Jordan was like, we just play through the pain. Because Your presence here will be huge. Because see, that's the whole psychological thing. If he goes and sits on the bench and is out, it is a massive moral boost for the Utah Jazz. Like, boom, we can do it. Let's go through. But even if you're not at 100%, just by you being there, it still says we're still the Bulls. We're still the Bulls. Like, you don't have any, because you don't want to give your opponents any kind of psychological advantage whatsoever, man. If you could pick one in existence of or as the greatest, Jackson, Ali, or Jordan, and why? That's a tough one, man. That's a tough one. But if I had to say, I have to say Michael Jackson. And we will do a Michael Jackson. We will definitely do a Michael Jackson thing. But the reason why I say Michael Jackson is his career is phenomenal. Because this is a dude who was a superstar as a child, a superstar as an early teen, a superstar as a solo act in three different things. I mean, you had the young MJ with the Jackson 5, you had the slightly older MJ with the Jackson 5, then you had the off the wall MJ, then you had the thriller MJ, you had the bad MJ, you had the danger. So what he was able, the span of his career, we've never seen anything like it before. If MJ retired after Off the Wall, one of the biggest child stars of all time, in one of the biggest bands of all time, with one of the best albums of all time, if he retired after Thriller, so there are so many stages where if he retired at Off the Wall, at Thriller, even at Jackson 5, he would still go on in history. So he had so many historic segments in his career that it is stupid just what Michael Jackson did in the time that he was at and what he did at such a young age. That's the thing, because see, Ali and Jordan, they had to reach a certain age before people really knew about them, and that's really go through pitfalls. Since Michael Jackson was a flipping child, Ben, the two of us need love no more. Since then, since he was thinking about a flipping rat called Ben, he's been famous. So yeah, man, MJ is that dude, man. Oh no, see, Messi and Cristiano. Yeah, they are great, but they're not like Jordan. Messi and Cristiano don't come close to Jordan. Because for instance, if you were to give me a Messi Cristiano doc, I don't know how interested it will be, because they haven't transcended the sport the way that Jordan did. Like, yeah, and this is why I go back to what I said at the very beginning and what this showed. Jordan by himself made the NBA the second most popular sport in the world and the fastest growing sport in the world. That's what he did. He literally made NBA a global game. I don't think you realize how famous this dude was when he was playing. You don't, like, it was. You see, I don't remember the Pele time. I don't remember the Pele time, because remember, and this is what they said it in the doc. You see, we have social media. So you have your Instagrams, you have your Twitters, and so forth, and everything. Jordan was a mega superstar before social media. So without retweets, clickbaits, and everything, he was a superstar where any country he went to, it was Jordan, 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 Jordan. It was huge. And his popularity has built the biggest, most lucrative sportswear line in history. In history. Like that Jordan logo is known around the world. How many countries can you go to that don't know who Jordan is? You can go to places who don't know. You can go to places and they don't know who Messi is or Cristiano is. Trust me, you can go to places and they don't know who they're there. I'm not sure whether you can go to any place and they don't know who Jordan is, or they don't understand that Jordan logo. So I don't think you realize just how great of a sports person this dude was. Like, there's nothing like Jordan. There's nothing like flipping Jordan, man. You see, we say But see, this was so when I say biggest, I say in terms of popularity and the you see, so when you just say so biggest, you see, you may say cricket is the second biggest sport because of how many people play it, and you may be right based on just the numbers that people play it in. But I think that in terms of global interest of different countries, you'll see more people into basketball than cricket. If, for instance, if you go to how many playgrounds do you go to? Most playgrounds you go to, there are goalposts and there are basketball hoops. It is very rare to go into most like sports center, sports places that don't have goalposts and the basketball hoop. You don't see stumps there. Because like, what? Why be stumps? What? Oh, so guys are going to come and play cricket? No, And cricket is only played by 8 or 9 countries. Basketball is played in a lot of places around the world. So cricket isn't even coming close to the popularity of basketball. It's not coming close. And cricket is not coming close. Again, no, rugby. Only 12 countries play rugby. Like 12 of then not that many countries play rugby. Rugby is nowhere as close as basketball. It's nowhere as close. Basketball is played now. Pretty much the whole of Europe play basketball. Basketball, I believe there are European countries where basketball is the number one sport. If you look at that Eastern Bloc, if you look at Lithuania, you look at Serbia, you look at Russia, basketball is the number one sport. Like the Euro League is one of the biggest, most watched things. So and now that's why there's this whole thing initiative of Basketball Africa. And I think when you look at Africa, before Africa was very much about cricket because of the whole colonial mindset. But now, because of America and the brand and Jordan and how big the thing it was, thing is different. Thing is different. See, tennis is interesting. Still no. Tennis is interesting. I will still say basketball is bigger, but tennis is interesting. Tennis is interesting in terms of a sport. It is interesting because of I think because of Federer and Serena. Specifically Serena. I think Serena is one person who really branched out the sport, because I think before Serena, people viewed tennis as, okay, this is just for white dudes. It was just okay, this is just for white dudes and everything, blah. But when Serena came in, people were like, oh, geez. So it's opened it up racially. But the reason why I say basketball is more than tennis is that basketball just has that thing of you, because again, I think we said it before, basketball and hip hop are like this. Hip hop is the most popular musical form there is, and basketball and hip hop are hand in hand. So getting a basketball jersey isn't a sporting jersey, it's a form of fashion. So you playing basketball with that basketball jersey, it's a form of fashion, puts you closer to rap and hip hop. How many times do we hear in rap guys that reference how many times do we hear in rap people who reference basketball things? So many. Thoughts on F1. F1 is, see, for me, F1 is, I like F1, but I can understand why people call F1 boring. I can understand why people call F1 boring. But I still find it cool. I still find the F1 cool. And the thing about F1 is they need rule changes, because I think F1 now is more exciting than it used to be, because what you're now getting in F1 is you can now do more overtaking, and that is what they needed to do. That's why you have so many different winners in the past few seasons. So I think once F1 allow you to really do more overtaking and more aggressive driving, which is what Hamilton has always said, that, bro, I was in go-karting, and if you want to race, I want to race. Let's race, because for F1, I want to see who is the best racer. Not who has the best car, who is the best racer, you know? And then we can then truly see how, whether it's Hamilton or your boy who just left Ferrari right now, the German dude. Let's see that. So sorry, Vettel, because I want to see Vettel and Hamilton just race. What I want is Hamilton and Vettel in the same car and they race. No rules, nothing. Let them race as aggressive as they want. That would be amazing. So no, I mean no, boxing. See, boxing is now slowly coming up now. At the time, boxing was the biggest sport in the world. During the times of Ali and Tyson, boxing was the biggest sport in the world, hands down. The Tyson, Holyfield era, the Ali era, Foreman era, biggest boxing. Then when the Klitschko guys came in, it tanked. The Klitschko era, boxing tanked, football took the top spot. So football has now had the number one spot, and I don't think football will relinquish that in a very long time. But I think because see, the boxing can only be big with the heavyweight division. As much as Mayweather does, boxing needs the heavyweight division, which is why the UFC is coming. The UFC is coming. And I'm even having to say to myself, you know what, let me just watch some of this UFC, because I've always been like, I'm more traditional with the boxing, but UFC is coming. Because UFC have said that, all right, boxing, you do the whole red tape or all those loops to get fights. Fans, who do you want? You want him and him? Done. Who do you want? You want the guys to fight? It's happening. That's why UFC is kicking boxing's ass. So, but we're not. But with Joshua, Wilder, and Tyson Fury, boxing is slowly coming back right now because of the heavyweight division. Without the heavyweight division, boxing can't compete. If the heavyweight division is big, that's how boxing can go past the UFC. Right now, UFC is the thing because guys are like, no, yeah, we get the fights that we want. We get the fights, and also the UFC and the fans are much closer. Boxing and the fans, it's way too far away, and boxing has, and the reason why is that because remember, boxing is 100. Boxing precedes for football. Even look at our sport. I think boxing is the oldest sport of what exists now. Boxing is the oldest sport. The only thing older might be like the Olympics. So, but gonna have to change up. You're gonna have to change up because UFC is coming. The UFC is coming, man. Yeah, no. The UFC, like, you have to keep in mind, UFC is an extremely young sport. Extremely young. I mean, I remember when Ken Shamrock came into the WWF. Because remember, Ken Shamrock Ken Shamrock and his brother were one of the first guys at the UFC. And I remember when they came to the WWF, and I'm like, who's this guy? Oh, he's a UFC fighter. Oh, UFC, what the hell is that? So UFC is extremely young. Boxing is like 200 years old. So, and this is what Tyson was sort of saying on his podcast, because Tyson was saying that, why is it that the boxing can still sell so much when UFC is so much more exciting and much on the rise? And Tyson said that, habit. We know that this is crap, but we're going to buy it. Everyone knew how that Mayweather Pacquiao fight was going to go. Everyone knew, but we all bought it, and we kept on buying those Mayweather fights because Mayweather, as this is what Mike Tyson said, they knew how to promote. Then boxing knows how to promote, and UFC doesn't have the promotional skill as boxing, and UFC just does not have the tradition. Because again, Mike Tyson, as I said again, what are we gonna do? Yeah, man, let's go to the boxing because of history, and because there's that history in there, those people will always be more likely to go to the boxing than to the UFC because UFC is still new. It is an extremely young sport. So they have so much catching up to do. Actually, no, I used to play rugby sevens. See, rugby sevens is a lot of fun. Rugby sevens is a lot of fun. I hated fifth and aside, but rugby sevens is because rugby sevens is like tag. It's like tag. So it's fun. It is so much fun. But and you know what? See, that is something that I think that they should probably try and do more of. Because for me, I've always said rugby as a sport is better than American football or American egg ball. Because rugby, like the rules are, but for me, rugby sevens is flipping amazing. It's really amazing. No, no. See, you have to understand this. Organized football, where it's the football close to what we know with the rules, with so much of the rules, isn't older than boxing. As in boxing, in terms of this is now boxing with the rules and this is a fight and rounds, goes way is older than for football. You know, like because if you want to really think about it, but no man, it's just two guys and the whole boxing goes way back. Boxing precedes everything because it's these two guys are going to fight and we're going to now put a bet on two guys fighting. This is to slavery times, even slavery times and beyond. So boxing is old, man. Boxing is old, man. Oh yeah. Oh no. Phelps is a beast, man. Phelps is a beast. Phelps is a beast. Like, see, now that's what I say. Who is the greatest athlete? That's a tough one. Because for me, for Phelps, he's going to be in the conversation, but I don't think I can overall say he's the greatest athlete. You know, like for me, like if you just say athlete in terms of just your Jordan. I mean Jordan, you've got to put him in there. You could have put him in there. Like Mayweather is more technicality rather than athleticism. You know, some of the things that Jordan. That's why it's called Jordan Air. The way that he would extend himself, go through all this kind of thing, and that is crazy. You know, I think see baseball is better than baseball is better than cricket. Let's keep it real. Cricket is just easier to understand, but baseball I think is more fun to watch than thing. And also there've been better films there've been better baseball films than thingy films. So there've been better films than a thing as well, man. Oh yeah, no. Baseball is rounders. Baseball literally is round. Because I remember when I was in school and they made us play rounders, and I was like, wait a minute, this is baseball. I mean, see, baseball is literally is pretty much a derivative of what's it called? Yeah, it's pretty much a derivative of cricket. The NFL is derivative of rugby. Baseball is derivative of cricket. Remember, America was once a colony of England. So, but yeah, man, but look, man, I mean, as I said again, Last Dance was a superb documentary, an absolutely superb, amazing piece of work. A truly amazing piece of work, man. A truly amazing piece of work, man. And I just think, look, I said again, and I remember, I think someone said about there isn't a Jordan equivalent. There isn't a Jordan equivalent in any other sport. No other sports athlete has popularized their sports as much as Jordan did. You know, like even watching that thing, I had like goosebumps. Some of those episodes, I really had goosebumps watching those episodes. Oh my god, you know, it was amazing, man. Wait, so guys, I'm talking about Usain Bolt, guys. Guys, do you realize what it means to win multiple? Didn't he win the gold medal in 3 different? I think he did it in 3. So he did it in China. Yeah, I think he did it. He did it in China, London, and Rio. So that in itself is crazy. And he did it 100, 200, and the relay. Because you know what was always said? I forgot what someone said to me. They said, if a tall person figures out how to run quickly in 100 meters, they'll be the fastest person ever. Why? They can take less strides. So 1 stride for a tall person is 1.5 or 2 for a regular sized person. So once Usain Bolt figured out how to move his legs quickly and make those long strides rapid, game over. And that's why you have to give him credit, because before Bolt, a tall guy doing 100 meters, not like, no, so sorry. You may have long strides, but you can't move as quickly as a Maurice Green or a Carl Lewis. Um, so once Bolt figured out, like, it was almost impossible to catch him. And he had to realize that, every time he was doing it, there was always a target on his back. There was always a target on his back. Actually, tell you a funny story. No, I don't think I've told you guys this. So basically, when I was in school, everybody had to do 100 meters and everything. So when I began doing 100 meters, I used to wear shoes. Yeah, normally you have to wear shoes on the grass. I used to get like maybe 16 seconds via 100 meters. So I was like, man, these shoes always feel heavy. So once I just said to myself, you know what? Just let me just feel lighter. So I took off my shoes and I went to bare feet because I was like, look, let me just go bare feet. Let's see how it is. Once I ran bare feet, I now started to get like 14, 13. I think I maybe got 12 at one point, but I went from 16 seconds to now 13 seconds, 100 meters, which just and like at a point I was the fastest dude in my school. But then it then all changed, man. But yeah, Bolt put Jamaica on the map. Huge. Like before Bolt, all Jamaica was known for was Bob Marley and like weed. That was it. So there was a very stereotypical view of Jamaica. Hey, Jamaica, yeah, Bob Marley, yeah, man, yeah, yo, reggae, everything. But he then said, well, no, when we're more than reggae, we're actually a very good sporting nation. It's also him, and I've forgotten the name of the lady. Damn, I've forgotten her name. Because there's another Jamaican lady who always was winning her 100 and her 200. So Jamaica was known as that. Those are the premier dudes, man. Yeah, no. This is not huge, man. I mean, that was tough. That Kobe episode was tough, man. Because I would have loved to hear a present day Kobe Bryant talk about how much Jordan influenced him, man. Yeah, Shelley and Fraser Price. Thank you. Kelly and Fraser. Yeah, Fraser Price. Yeah, ha ha ha. And she looks sexy as hell. No. Yeah, that would have been so sad, man. Because yeah, like that Kobe thing was. I still can't believe it. I still can't believe that whole Kobe thing happened, man. I still can't believe it. But Kobe was. I mean, I'd love to hear what Kobe would have said, because people will say that Kobe is the closest thing to MJ. And I'll keep it real with you. Kobe was a sniper, but Kobe wasn't MJ. Because Kobe didn't have that air of invincibility that he had. So that's why I always give Kobe credits for winning with Pau Gasol, because that's when he was the main man. Every time Kobe won with Shaq, that's it. In all his wins with Shaq was always the finals MVP. So Kobe played his role, but guys said no, Shaq was that unstoppable force in that team, and Kobe was just the nice scoring addition to it, And as I said, they could have won even more if they stayed together. They could have won even more, and they should have beaten. I think it was Detroit in 04 that they lost to. So, no, those guys were definitely money, man. But yeah, I just never felt that Kobe was MJ, and people can say, "Oh no, Kobe's like nah." He wasn't. He wasn't. Like actually, MJ is, and as this doc just showed, MJ was just different. Dude was different. Like there will never be another MJ, which is why for LeBron, I would say, look, LeBron, there's a conversation, but LeBron has to accept that you have to leave MJ, man. But we have to give credit for what LeBron and that Cleveland did against that Warriors team. Just give him credit. Give him credit. Simon, thank you very much for the super chat, man. Thank you, man. Who is the biggest sports star ever? Should they leave politics out or a part of them? The biggest sports star ever. It's between Jordan and Muhammad Ali. It's between Jordan and Muhammad Ali. I'll probably have to say, you see, it's hard because Muhammad Ali was in a different era, but maybe taking everything into account, it's hard, man. I'm going to say Muhammad Ali. And I think the reason why I'm going to say Muhammad Ali is because of Rumble in the Jungle. Like that, the story of that is insane. Because you have to remember, George Foreman was the heavy favorite, and people thought this guy was going to kill Muhammad Ali. They thought this guy is going to get knocked out. And Muhammad Ali, that is one of the great sporting strategies in history. You know, I'm going to tire you out. Once you're tired out, I will then beat you. It is like that. Rumble in the Jungle is sporting genius, absolute sporting genius. Because remember, Muhammad Ali is the reason for Hulk Hogan, for The Rock, and wrestling. Because Muhammad Ali created the promo and preaching. He was so all these guys like your Ric Flair, your Hogan, your Rock, they were all copying Muhammad Ali. I could say Muhammad Ali. So this is interesting. Should sports people leave politics out? For me, it's down to you. I'm not going to hate Jordan for him not being politically inclined. And it's so great when Jordan mentioned that, because Jordan said, wait a minute. I just don't say anything about politics. Like, and he says that if you want your sports person to be politically charged, maybe I'm not the sports guy for you. I'm like, that's great. You kick a ball around. You throw a ball into a hoop. Why should I be looking for you for thinking advice? Why? Oh, because you're famous. No, I'm not famous for being this social leader and so forth. I'm famous for playing a sport. So because I'm famous for playing a sport, I should not be politically inclined. But then on the flip side is it depends on the kind of person you are, because you are in a specific position where your voice can be very impactful. And for Muhammad Ali, he was like, what he did wasn't impactful because he was extremely popular. And by him rejecting and not wanting to go to Vietnam and making those things, it sent volumes out. And that is what made him this kind of flipping. That's what immortalized him. So, and LeBron does it as well. So for me, it's down to the individual, because I've always said, look, this whole thing when people say, oh no, leave politics out. Politics is life. Everyone is political because everybody has a point of view. You can't have, if you don't have a point of view, then you're like a ghost. So politics is literally just a point of view. So that's the thing, man. But yeah, no, that's why it is. I mean, see, no, that is the debates. I think no football star has reached the level of Ali and Jordan. No one. So if it's talking about sports stars, it's Ali, Jordan, and like there is a great argument for both. Muhammad Ali, Rumble in the Jungle, how he fought as a heavyweight boxer, the Vietnam thing, and his mic skills and his personality. Jordan, 6-0, never a game 7. How he popularized a sport, and how popular. See, guys, it's hard. It's difficult because, see, for Muhammad Ali, it was the kind of guy he was. He could go to any country, sit down, and he could listen to this guy talk for days. But for Jordan, for Jordan, it was almost as if you were looking at this as. For Jordan, it's sporting excellence. Muhammad Ali wasn't the best boxer. Muhammad Ali isn't the greatest boxer of all time. He isn't. Some may say it's Floyd Mayweather. Hate him all you want. Floyd Mayweather 50-0. Floyd Mayweather was only rocked once in his career. Sugar Shane Mosley was only rocked once in his career in 50 fights. So Ali's greatness is more so outside the ring, with the exception of Rumble in the Jungle. But it's because Rumble in the Jungle was his high point. That's why I use that. But for Jordan, everything about Jordan was what he did on that court and the way he played the game. So this is why I always say I look at Messi and the Christians like it's not just about scoring goals and just having stats. It's how you do it. That's why Dino is so special. That if Dino did what he did for a longer period of time, there'd be no debate, because the way Dino did it made people go, wow. The way Jordan would go up and twist and contort his body and go through and sweep through and let it hang. the way he did it was like, wow, damn. It was, so that's when you just see like, yeah, this guy is on a different level, man. Yeah, no, no, look, I mean, yeah, yeah, he popularized a lot of stuff, man. Huge. He was flipping huge. You cannot deny how huge he was, man. All right, yeah, man. I mean, I think obviously football is harder because it's like 11 against 11, so it's harder for a star to really. But for me, I think the closest thing for me is Ronaldinho. I think Ronaldinho is the closest thing to being a true superstar that would transcend the sport. But I think the way that Ronaldinho played the game, even if you don't understand football, you can go, wow. See, that's the thing is like when you saw what Jordan did, you don't need to understand basketball to know, man, what he's doing is amazing. You don't need to understand football to know that what Dino is doing is amazing. Because the way Dino is doing it, it's with such style and such great grace and character that you're like, oh my God, wow. It's like this guy's doing no look, this guy's doing flicks, this guy's smiling at, and it's a smile as well. It's a smile, it's the character, his approach, his demeanor. And those are the things that really puts you in that kind of special echelon, man. So it's all really the dependence, man. Oh no, no, no. Guys, I remember the segments. Actually, I was a WCW guy when all this was happening. I remember the segments. Um, well, that's interesting. Because I was like, what the hell is Dennis Rodman? Um, as I said, what the hell was Dennis Rodman doing? you know, on wrestling. What the hell was? I was like, wait, how the hell is Dennis Rodman there? So it's not. He was like that was when WCW had really. That was when they were destroying the WWF. It was huge because they were having all these famous dudes on there, man. So so a few years from now, you realize that Christina has had the same, maybe even more of an impact. I'm sorry, Cristiano and Messi are not touching the impact of Jordan. They they aren't. They're not. You cannot create a Messi or Cristiano documentary that will hit as hard as The Last Dance. It's just not happening. Because the thing about The Last Dance is that this. Are you telling me that only basketball fans watch The Last Dance? I tell me that only basketball fans were interested in The Last Dance. If there's a Messi or Cristiano documentary, what non-football guy is going to watch that? For what? They're like, no, this is okay. This is a football thing. Cool. Because Messi and Cristiano have not crossed over. They've not really expanded it of like, okay, what? No, they have not. But Jordan was the dude that was like, because again, he popularized the sport unlike any other athlete. There is no athlete in the history of the game that popularized their sport to the same degree that Michael Jordan did. That is a cold, hard fact. That is a cold, hard fact. This is false. This is false because the MLS was created back because Pele was one of the dudes that helped launch the MLS, and football was being launched and everything in 1994 when America hosted the World Cup in 1994. That is why they hosted it. They hosted the World Cup in 1994 based on what Pele had started. So Americans did not watch football because of Cristiano and Messi. That is completely false. Come on, bro. That's completely false. Okay. It's existed a way before. So no, I said, see, the closest thing I think for Jordan is Pele. It is Pele. Because most guys that know nothing about football, they know who or what Pele is. Like, like even Stephen A. Smith, I've never heard Stephen A. Smith even mention a Messi or Cristiano. But Stephen A. Smith, like he knows Pele. It's like no, Pele is so Pele. is that guy. Pele Pele is like for football. Like what Pele is to football is what Jordan is to basketball, and Pele is the closest thing. You know, you see, the difference is this. Without Pele, I still believe football would still be where it is today. Football was just a beast that would always grow. It just needed time. Without Jordan, basketball is not as big as it is right now. That's a fact. That's a fact. Like without Jordan and what he did and who he was, basketball isn't as big as it is now. But without Pele, I still think football becomes big. Like football as a sport is bigger than any player that has played. There is no player who has become bigger than the sport for football. Football was just a beast that was always going to get to where it is right now as being the number one sport in the world. Basketball needed Jordan, and Jordan was bigger than basketball. That's a fact. He was bigger than the sport. So, all right, guys. Look, man. So that was it, man. But look, man. As I said again, Last Dance, man. Great doc. Superb. I mean, I loved it. And this was a huge job from Netflix, man, to really get this. And I think this just crystallizes how amazing those Chicago Bulls were. They've only won 6 times. And only 6 times they've only won 6 times. And the 6 times they won, Jordan was there. Same thing with Napoli. Napoli have only won 2 league titles. And the 2 league titles they won was when your boy Thingy was there. So it's good to see. It's definitely good to see. It's definitely good to see, man. This is I mean, it's definitely good to see like what those guys were able to do and what Jordan was able to do. And I think people just have to admit that, you know what, MJ, you can have a debate, you can have the discussions and so forth, but I think this really just showed that he was a truly special ghost. But guys, remember, hit that like button, support your boy. If you're new, remember to hit that subscribe button as well. Smash on that like button. Be true, be cool, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for the next stream. Love, baby, love. All right, peace out. Become a Half Hope Sort member and gain access to exclusive videos and also the chance to watch films, anime, or different videos with your boy HH exclusively. Just click below on the join button to join in and become a Half Hope Sort member to gain access to these perks. Just click on the community icon over here to view the new members only posts just for you.